Now it's that time of the night where we take your questions, which you've sent in via social media, via email, and I'm always delighted to hear from you. And I'm equally delighted to say Pauline Hanson is joining me now. Welcome, Pauline. Let's get straight into it so we can get through as much as we can. Andrew asks, what do you make of the HR Institute saying we should ditch Christmas from Christmas parties?
What a load of rubbish. Why would you want to ditch Christmas? You know, this is the time of year people look forward to. It's catching up with families. It's a time for families to get together. This is the time of year that everyone forgets all their woes and problems and troubles and all the rest of it, and just celebrate the time. I think it's wonderful. I will continue to say Merry Christmas, and to everyone out there, have a wonderful Christmas with your family.
Yeah, absolutely right, Pauline. It's part of the whole thing about not offending anyone, and they just say, no, you shouldn't mention that word. Well, it's the reason for the season, you know, the birth of baby Jesus. All right, Caitlin asks, did you hear anything about out of National Cabinet today that will actually bring down energy costs? Well, Pauline, National Cabinet released everything. I didn't see anything that was going to bring it down, just a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. What about you?
They've got no bloody idea what they're doing, Corey. The whole fact is they say they're going to lock in a cap on coal at $125 a tonne. A lot of the companies have already locked in coal in contracts up to $100 a tonne. So the fact is that Albanese is going to call Parliament back next week to pass legislation. I doubt he's even looked at the contracts that these companies already have. So he's going to put on a huge cost to the taxpayer, getting all politicians and their staffers to go back to Parliament. And he's just made a big mistake with all this. It won't reduce the prices of it. You're actually going to drive these companies to sell their coal overseas. If you put a price of $125 a tonne, but they've locked in the prices, Corey. Wait till the contracts come out, and then you could have actually done it next year. He's wasting people's time, taxpayers' money, and he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. And he's grasping at straws, hoping this will bring down the prices of electricity.
And it's extraordinary. He's throwing more taxpayers' cash at this into the companies directly, and he's saying it's going to be deflationary. It's not. The money gets sloshing around the system. He's just out of his depth on the economics. All right, Tennille asks, is a cap on coal prices a good idea? I think we've covered that, haven't we, Pauline? But let's have another crack at it. When is a cap on any price good policy? I mean, you could ask Venezuela that, or the old Soviet Union, or maybe North Korea. Has it worked for them?
Correct. No, it hasn't worked for them. Actually, they're in very poor countries. They were once rich, and so was Argentina, was once a rich company. Governments have to get out of the markets of telling private companies how to run their businesses. The problem is, that's why we're in the dire straits that we are, is government brought in policies that we must have renewables. They've destroyed the coal-fired power stations, which were delivering a sustainable energy source to Australians. Because they've shut them down, companies are shutting them down. We're losing the coal-power-fired stations. So that's why we're in dire straits as we are. It's going to be problems for us, and companies won't keep going if they're only going to get $125 a tonne, because it was a few years ago, they're only getting $60 a tonne. It's cost the companies at least $60 to $80 a tonne to get it out of the ground. So, you know, it's not in their interest. The government's
making that harder and harder too.
Telling these coal-making companies, yes, they are. Get out of the business. Stop telling them what to do.
Hey, Pauline, Tom asks, and I reckon he's probably a fan of yours, what will be the big political stories of next year? So that's an open-ended question for what's going on with One Nation, but also a prediction about where you think the government's going to land, I suppose.
Look, Corey, I know you were part of the Liberal Party for quite some time. I have grave concerns with the Liberal Party. If they don't start getting their act together and start showing some opposition to government policies, they're going to be in the wilderness for quite some time. I have grave concerns with China and what will happen with Taiwan. I actually have concerns about the cost of living, because people are going to start doing it tough. Maybe when they do start doing it tough, and a lot of people saying this, maybe they might consider who they vote for at the next election, because it's government policies that have left us in this dire straits that we are at the moment. And it makes me so mad that people think the world's coming to an end because computer modelling says we're going to increase by 1 or 2% in temperatures. Who knows when, in 100 years' time, but we're quite happy to see people dying from heat exhaustion or freezing temperatures because we don't supply the power to them. Go figure. I don't understand people. I don't understand where the heads are at because they go along with this, what's fed to them.
It's unbelievable, Pauline. I think you've summed that up. There's always a calamity, whether it be COVID or whether it be, fossil fuels or whether it be climate change. If something's going to destroy us, the only thing that's doing us damage, quite frankly, is policies by governments right around the world, left or right. It doesn't matter. They are making a mess of everything, and we've got to redress it. It's going to be a big year for you in Parliament next year. And more strength to your arm. Merry Christmas to you. We're allowed to say that on this show. And I hope you enjoy a good break. And I look forward to speaking to you in 2023. Thanks, Pauline Hanson.